Mm, bu- 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 Okay, and yep, I'm live. So, hello, my lovelies. It's your kawaii metal princess, Princess Alice Manor. Hope you're all doing fan-freaking-tastic today. So where to begin, really? Um, yeah. So basically, I originally wanted to do this video, as like a proper scripted video, but I've really been struggling with trying to write it out and script it properly. So I thought I would just speak from the heart, essentially. And I've just realised I'm not wearing my bra today. Was it so? Yeah. Was it if you are new to this channel and such? My name is Alice Manor, and I am a trans woman. And today is my 5-year anniversary. I don't know what the proper way to call it is. My 5-year transversary, transgender anniversary. Let's just call it that. And so yes, the 5 years ago I came out as trans, and yeah, so the journey's just been crazy. And basically I just wanted to go through what the last 5 years of my life has been like. So basically, in the last 5 years, so, um, actually, yeah, I'm just thinking where to start. Obviously, like on my channel, I want to make actual proper videos and such, of like particular stories and such in my trans journey and such, and like obviously Q&As and questions and such for people to watch back in the future. But I hope this story helps with people's feedback, with people's own journeys and education as well. So where do we start then? So basically, starting about probably about 6 years ago, and that's when I actually decided that I was trans, and basically a lot of different things kind of happened, and um, when when those things did happen, basically I was surrounded. I was starting to be surrounded by more open people, and I was able to fit in my element. And I had briefly known about transgender people beforehand, but I never felt like I would be confident enough to do it. But then I decided in the end that, you know what, um I want to be trans. This should be I feel like I should I feel like this is what I need to do with my life, and I want to become a woman. And then it basically at the time though, I didn't really realize what I wanted to. Basically, at the time, I didn't want to refer myself immediately because I wanted to get things in my life sorted out before I did, and I came to regret that in the end. I actually compared my story to another friend I know, and they basically said that basically we our journeys kind of like co-aligned with each other, but they referred themselves straight away. And now 5, 6 years later, they're about to get their surgery, whereas I'm still kind of just starting things. So yeah, I do kind of regret not getting myself referred to, but I was in the mindset that I should be doing I was in the mindset that I should be doing I should be in a good place before I do it, and I could have been using that time in the waiting list. So anyway, so a series of events happened over that year, and unfortunately, I did, because I wasn't being open and public about it, along with a lot of other things, I went into a bit of a deep depression, and in the end, I was fed up of not coming out of just like keeping it a secret. So I decided to come out 5 years ago to that today. And when I did, I just felt a weight lifted off of my shoulders, and I just felt so much more happier. And I had a lot of people kind of coming out, coming to me and saying that, like, some people kind of knew already and they were kind of just waiting for me to actually say it, and then others were just very happy that I had come out and said things, as and they were happy that I was able to be in my element and such. So yeah, so basically I got myself referred at, and a little shortly afterwards, and I had done a little bit of research, and basically I told my GP that, like, I want to get referred. I gave them the address to my clinic as well, and then what had happened following that was she had to check how to do things through her own channels, because back then being trans wasn't as common. So she had to have a little check of like how to do things, and then she thankfully managed to get me referred to my selected clinic, which is the Laurels in Exeter. At the time, I kind of picked it because, like, I heard more good positive feedback, and the waiting lists were a lot lower. And yeah, so I kind of just went through. I kind of went through those channels, and yeah, I got myself referred and got put on the waiting list. I was surprised at like how long the waiting list was going to be, because I think, like, originally I was told something like maybe six. What was it? It can take 6 months, but things kind of like ended up changing throughout that anyway, and through those through those 6 months, I was kind of just staying patient. I called up and, like, they said, yeah, we're not too sure. It might be like another 6 months, a year. But eventually, about a year and a half later, was I finally got my appointment, and in that time as well, I had started a new job, and basically, and at the time, like, I didn't say I was trans, but then once I settled into the job, I felt more open coming out to people about it. So I came out as trans to my work colleagues, and yeah, for the pretty much the staff members were all very open about it and very friendly, so I can't complain about that too much. And then yeah, as we went along, also, yeah, as I went along, just I wasn't presenting myself as female or such, and I was still going by like my nickname, which was my last name. But then when I did come out, that the idea of possibly moving to Brighton came about, which was suggested by my boss at the time. But we'll get back to that shortly. But yeah, so along those lines, though, the idea of Brighton was in my mind, and then eventually I managed to kind of like come down to Brighton to do a trial shift. Unfortunately, I was a bit messed around with there and it didn't work. But then I managed to plow through. I tried getting some more trial shifts, but then shortly afterwards, as I came out to my work colleagues and the idea of Brighton came into my mind, I decided to I finally got my appointment at my transgender clinic, and when I did get the appointment finally, I was when I did get the appointment finally, I was very excited, but the problem is my knowledge was very much I had something in my mind of like what was going to happen, but then unfortunately what did occur was sadly not the case. So I went to the transgender clinic and I was waiting in there, and basically my impressions, or like what I thought was going to happen, or what I was told, was that I would be seeing an actual doctor, and they would tell me what I would do, what they would basically tell my next steps going forward. And at this point, I'd been trying to live my life as Katie, which was my first original name. Um, yeah, I'd been trying to live as Katie as much as I can, as much as I could, and gain as much IRL experience as I could. So I could essentially have speed up the process a bit. Unfortunately, what happens though was I went into the appointment and I didn't actually meet a doctor. I met like a therapist. And when I met the therapist, they basically told me that what the process would be, and that I would go through a few questions, find out why I wanted to be trans, and what would happen, and like just kind of like look into my life and such, and almost get like a little mental evaluation, essentially. But what happened was, he had told me at the beginning that I that we would do that we would do all that we would do all of this, and then we would speak, and then in a year's time, I would get in up to a year's time rather, I would get a doctor would get in touch with me to discuss the verdict and what to do for going forward. Unfortunately, at the time, I did not realize that, and that literally threw me through a whole loop, and just I couldn't think straight for the rest of the mental evaluation, which was quite unfortunate. I was generally upset. I didn't know what to do, and I went through the mental evaluation, and I kind of just went out feeling like I made I if it, I basically felt like I had made no progress at all, and I was very upset, unfortunately, and I yeah, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know what to do. Was it because I was hoping I would have had some sort of almost like some. I was hoping, basically, I was hoping that was going to have some idea of what to do, and this was back in 2017. Yes, 20. Yes, yeah. It was basically like this was back in 20. It was August 2017. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, after a while, I managed to kind of just focus on things, got some things sorted, and over over time, I managed to finally sort out moving to Brighton in the end. I managed to move throughout within the company, and in May 2018, yes, yeah, I'm trying to remember all my dates is just being a bit of a blur. But yeah, May 2018, I went back into it. I basically, May 2018, I managed to finally move down to Brighton, and that helped a lot because, for those who don't know, Brighton is a very open place. It's essentially the LGBT capital of the country, and it's just like it's just very open. And I just felt comfortable there immediately. I could go out dressed up and I would be given compliments, whereas beforehand I lived in Kent, and mid Kent Medway, and basically there was a lot of hospitality and prejudice there. If I was to go out dressed up, I would literally get like loads of insults thrown at me. But then instead, what happened was I um yeah, what happened instead was would go out just like dressed up, and I would get just random compliments, and it was literally like a shift from night to day. And I was, it's just extremely proud. I was just extremely proud of what happened. I was just happy. I just felt so much more comfortable, and I started meeting like-minded people as well, and I just kind of went through it really. But then, unfortunately, yeah. So I'd say about like 3 or 4 months went by, and I felt, and I was still waiting to hear back from the GIC. But then it got to 12. Basically, got to like 12 months later after they said, and I heard nothing back. And I, in the end, managed to get in touch with the GIC and asked them what was happening. And basically, they told me that they have no idea or no time reference or time frame they could give me. And that hurt so much. And I don't know, I can understand why they couldn't, because unfortunately there's funding for GIC clinics around the country, but there isn't enough resources. So like there's something like 5 or 6 GICs around the country, and then 2 of them are specifically for youth as well. And then each clinic might only have like 3 or 4 actual doctors, and the waiting lists are like 5, and the waiting lists are can be like 3 years. I know the Exeter clinic I'm at the moment, they say that when you apply, the clinic is the waiting list is a minimum of 3 years, and then I don't even know if that's going to be 3 years till you see a doctor, or 3 years until you get a mental evaluation, which again, like I said, if I'm for me, just going through the process and then finding out I'm not going to see a doctor would be heart-wrenching. So I don't really know what the updated process is. But after a year, after a year, throughout that year as well, like I had I was getting voice therapy and such to try and sound more feminine, which I do need to go and do again at one point, because I feel like I've lost some of the techniques, or I need to I need to kind of like just fine tune it again a little bit. But yeah, basically there was things I was trying to do that just kind of like try and progress as much as I could before I could actually get visual verdict. But then I can't remember who it was that I can't remember who it was that officially referred me through to it, but I found out about a charity called Mind Out, and this was in, I'd say, probably about mid 2019, and yeah, coming up to about like 2 years after my transgender coming up to 2 years after my first appointment with the trans clinic. So yes, 2 years later, and basically I was starting to get really impatient. I had been waiting like about I had been waiting like 3 years and being told different things. So I finally went to see this charity called Mind Out, which if I didn't mention before, is a mental health charity that specializes in LGBT clients and patients rather. And one of the things they do is advocacy services as well. So they'll try and help people progress with their clinics, and basically try and advocate for them. And basically, I met somebody there who was she was wonderful. She was also a trans woman herself, and I basically got to talk to them about it more, and then they tried to help me push things, and like we started like a little bit of a case, almost like a case complaint against the GIC clinic for telling me, like, for giving a reference or time frame and then going back on it. Unfortunately, though, trying to get that done was just like trying to trying to pull teeth. It was we were just getting nowhere. We would send a message to them and we would just get the same information back, and then we actually finally did we kind of like finally went through some of the proper channels. But then when we went through the proper channels, we ended up talking to somebody who was meant to be like the complaints officer, but then who liaised with the clinic. But then they were just telling me that the same things as well, and basically saying, no, sorry, you just, and in the end they kind of just said to me, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to put up with it, and which was just, yeah, again, which was just upsetting. It's like it's like when you're talking to a trans person and you're trying to tell them, basically if you're trying to tell you're basically telling somebody who's trying to get a better life for themselves, who's trying everything they can, and then just saying like, and then especially like with my case where I was told that, you should be doing, basically in my case where I was told one thing and then after like waiting for extended time saying, oh, I'm sorry, we don't know now. It's just, it was just annoying, heart-wrenching, and then like trying to push and go through these different channels was sadly just it was, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, to be honest, but it was heart-wrenching, and I just couldn't get it was starting to really upset me again. However, through the GIC clinic, through the charity Mind Out rather, I started to get I started to be told that there was a possibility to get myself to like go to this to change my doctors to a different GP locally, who was in connection with a side clinic, and basically I went to I joined up with this GP and they referred me to this side clinic, which was run by a doctor. I won't say any names, but basically it was run by a doctor who was also an official doctor at the Charing Cross clinic up in London. And basically I went to see them, and they basically helped me out, and I ended up doing another mental evaluation with them, but it was literally just an hour session, and then I saw them again in 2 weeks. And basically when I saw them again in 2 weeks, they kind of they went through like my blood test results, which I'd got a blood test like with them on the first session as well, and they checked my details, and they could see that my like liver was a bit basically like they could see that like the levels in my liver, pardon me, were quite high. So they wanted to send me for like an ultrasound before they officially gave me any medication, and they were going to sort it out themselves, but I think sadly they got a bit overrun themselves with patients, because obviously like people finding out about side clinic, transgender people finding out about side clinic, everybody kind of just wants to get stuff sorted out as soon as possible. That was the case for me as well. So unfortunately, I think she did get a little overwhelmed with the reception, and what happened in the end was when what happened in the end is like I kind of had to try and push some things and try and again I was which felt frustrating because it felt like I've been trying to push with the GIC clinic. Don't say you have to push with you as well. But in the end, I finally managed to get finally managed to get an ultrasound, and when I did get the ultrasound, it was pretty much what we kind of thought it was. I generally had a fatty liver, but they said like after dieting and was it just healthy lifestyle, that should go down dramatically, and which did eventually in the end. I can't say for more recently. My routine has just gone crazy at the moment, but I'm gonna try and hopefully get through Christmas and then try and get back on track. So yes, when I did I went through that, and unfortunately, basically, and then after I got my ultrasound, she had a look and she said, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm more than happy to put you on hormones and such," and and they were going to give me like an estrogel instead of like the pill form, because it was a little bit more it's a little less harsh on the liver, which unfortunately can when you do start taking hormones, it can start having a weird effect on your body. So they kind of want to make sure you're in a healthy space before they kind of like end up causing more damage to you, essentially. So yes, going forward with that, then I went through. Going forward with that, I went through the. I tried to going through the channels, and start again. Sorry, but kind of keep on getting my trail of thought. I'm not good at like continuously speaking. That's why I wanted to do this scripted originally. So yes, I kind of went through the process. I went through the process with them, and then so they were going to, after they approved it, they were going to send a message to my GP, just kind of like official, in writing, "Hi, more than happy to prescribe them hormones." But unfortunately, trying to get that letter pushed through was sadly like pulling teeth again. And then unfortunately, COVID hit. And once COVID hit, I just lost all I just kind of like lost all feedback and connection to the side clinic in Brighton here. And pardon me, and because of COVID happening, I couldn't visit the side clinic, which I had to do a couple of times. I couldn't go to any walk-in sessions, and I just had no contact with my doctor, with the clinic doctor, all there. But thankfully, I managed to contact my GP and tell them, like, okay, I've been talking to them, and if you look at like my NHS profile, you'll see that things have been written down and stuff is meant to be happening. And thankfully, after like a phone call, video chat thing with my doctor, they said to me that like they said that they were more than happy to prescribe me hormones, and that started on the 1st of May. And since then, I've been on hormones for about just over half a year now. So yeah, and with the hormones, basically, I use the estrogen. I use something called estrogel, which is like a pump. Actually, do I have it here? Yeah. Here we go. So I'm actually keeping these at the moment because I'm actually keeping these at the moment because I kind of want to have a project at the end of it just to show them all. But so basically basically these are kind of like the estrogel and basically you got like a little pump like this, and all you do is just like I just like put a couple of presses on depending on what the prescription is, and you rub it in and your body soaks up the hormones. So since then I've been going through that process, and yeah, so I've been going through that process for the last few months. I've been having like checkups with my doctor over the last like every 3 months, getting blood tests, and for the majority of it, my levels have been going up high, and apart from a increase in my dosage, which is quite common after like the first 3 months. I've just been on that at the moment, but then I've got another check-in with them in January, and I'm hoping to be able to discuss what the next step is through at that point. I'm hoping that like it's either gonna be I'm hoping that like I'll be starting to take injections next time, but we'll have to see what happens. For now, unfortunately, I'm not too sure what the next process is, but on average I've been told that like hormones usually take about like 2 years average to to go through a full effect. But then even after you have surgery and such, which is the option I want to go, you have they'll basically even after surgery you still have to take hormones for like a year afterwards, I've been told, until essentially like all T blockers and such are out. But then so I'm hoping that like the next I'm hoping that like next month I'll be able to start like the next step of the hormone journey, either taking T blockers, getting injections, or I'm hoping I can at least get like referred for laser hair surgery, which the NHS do provide. Because at the moment it's like even though I'm taking hormones and such, even though I'm taking hormones and such like that, my hair growth is, I don't know if my hair growth has increased or decreased, or if I'm just more conscious of it. But like I find myself like shaving every day at the moment, and I don't know if that's just more because I'm more conscious of it or because of the actual hormones, or like testosterone trying to sort things out. So I'm hoping like the next step will be like will essentially like be will be another big thing. And then so that kind of just brings me up to today, and I'm what do I say really? Like it's been fun. It's been a tough 5 years. Throughout it, I've experienced like so many. I've experienced loads of challenges. Unfortunately, I've had issues with people and with parents. I unfortunately have been dismissed unfairly from a job because I was trans. I was when it I won't go into it too detail, but when it comes to families, there has been a couple of issues, but for the most part, now that I'd say probably the last 7 months has been much better. Has been like much better since I've been on hormones. It's just like knowing that I'm on my journey now just helps, and like the fact that the ball is rolling now, and I don't know when I'm going to see I have no idea when I'm going to see my GIC clinic or why I'm on the list. Like last time I checked with them, apparently I was nearing the beginning. I was nearing the beginning of the waiting list. But at the same time, like it's so unpredictable. But even at this point, I just feel like that. By the time I actually see the GIC clinic, I'm pretty much going to be ready to actually go for surgery. But yeah, so in the meantime, I'm just kind of like, I was just wondering what was on my face then. It was like white makeup. So yeah, I think like going forward, it's going to be, going forward, I'm just gonna take it as it comes. I'm starting to see little effects already. The main effect has been has actually been my boobs, which is funny. Like they're not big at the moment. They're not big at the moment, but just watching the replay here, and I'm just watching me quote my own boobs. So basically, when it comes to when it comes to that, yeah, but that's probably been one thing I have noticed. Like, my boobs and such have felt a little bit more perky. My nipples hurt. I won't lie, my nipples do hurt. Oh, my nipples do go through points where they do kind of like hurt a little bit. But I've been told that it's natural, unfortunately, just because like they are moving and such. So something I have to put up with, and I don't know. I think that's just like something. I think just women. Somebody tell me, was it? Somebody tell me if I am thinking it or not. If women, if women do regularly feel nipple pain, I don't know. But yeah, I would say skin feels a lot softer. Mental health, for the most part, has been a lot better. Like, I've gone through ups and downs, but I'd say yeah, going through ups and downs, but that's just like general life when you have like anxiety and depression, like myself, regardless of hormones. It does cause problems, but yeah, so yeah, I think like in general I have been a lot happier since I've started hormones. And I'd say in like the last 5 years, compared with myself from when I started to now, along with bunch of other events kind of happening I'd say I'm a bit more confident in myself. Obviously, like there's things and such I want to achieve, I want to do along the way, but yeah, it's weird it's hard to say, but I would say I'm definitely happy with where I am now compared to where I was 5 years ago. And I want to start and basically I'm just going along with the flow at the moment. I know it's going to take time, but knowing that stuff is happening now is a lot better than it was when nothing was happening at all. So yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, so literally this has literally just been me rambling for like the last almost 40 minutes there. But yeah, again, like originally I did want to script this, but I had no idea. But yeah, just kind of like I was sitting I was just sitting there like on my laptop, just like why can I not remember anything? What am I doing? It was literally just trying to type it out was just so frustrating. But I wanted to do something just to even just like say that okay, this is, you know what, this is why I want it. This is why I want to. But it basically just like that, at least recording something so like I can watch it back later in years and just kind of like remind myself of where I've come in my journey is essentially what I wanted to achieve with this video. And I'm hoping that like anybody watching or anybody who does come and watch it back later will be able to is a little bit more well educated and can also apply the experience to their own stuff. Again, like I said, I want to do actual videos, kind of like pinpointing segments of my journey. Like I think one video I definitely want to do, which I'll probably release during Pride, if anything, is like how I came to learn that I was transgender. So basically, kind of like my story from when I was born to about 5-6 years ago when I learned that I was trans. So yeah, aside from that though, I think that's it there. Again, like if anybody has been in the chat, I do apologize. I don't think it's working for me. So if you have been typing, I apologize if I haven't seen it. I will have a little look back later to see if anything has actually popped up there. But yeah, I've noticed that like viewers have been viewers have been up there. So I want to like say a huge thank you for those who have tuned in. And anybody watching it back, again, I am Princess Alice Manor. So, and if you did like this and want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe as well as check me out on any of my social media and whatnot. Aside from that, though, yeah, my name is. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy future content of mine. Again, thank you ever so much, and I'll see you later.